Welcome back to K2TV Sports Corner.
Welcome back to Sports Corner. I'm here with new head coach of the Casper men's basketball team, Shaun Gutting. Shaun, it's been about a month since you last were sitting here with Carmine, and in that time, it was about 24 hours that you had went into that new head coach role. So, how has it been this last month?
It hasn't really slowed down much since the first day. Really just kind of trying to establish a team, recruiting, getting through camp. It never really stopped. And I think that's exactly what I signed up for, trying to become the head coach. So it's been great so far, and I'm looking forward to the next couple months just kind of staying with the same pace.
Yeah, and speaking about that camp that you just hosted about last week for young athletes, it was over the course of 3 days, and a lot of kids came out to have that one-on-one time with your players and with you.
Right.
So now as head coach running that, what did you take away from that?
It's definitely a little different when you're the head coach. In the past, I've kind of been more of the voice that's consistent throughout the day. But this year we ended up having, obviously Coach Stewart and our assistant and our staff kind of run it, and where I just was able to observe and kind of just, add my 2 cents. But it was great. Honestly, having that many kids at camp, we ended up having over 100 combined with the 2 sessions, which was up from last year. It's given us a lot of reasons to maybe think about adding another camp in the future. But the good thing is that we know that basketball is strong here in Casper with the community and how many kids really want to be involved in it.
Definitely. And when Carmine spoke with you about a month ago, Coach Lester Stewart was not in that assistant position, but now he's been hired and he's going to be your right-hand man. What have you two been working on to, go forward into this season strong?
Mostly just really wanting to recruit and make sure that we have the right guys in place here with the 5 returners we have. Coach Stewart has a tremendous background with recruiting, being from Chicago, a Midwest guy, and also having the experience over at College of Southern Idaho. So it really was a no-brainer for me to bring him on. And he's definitely fulfilled the role I expected so far. We've signed 7 players, 7 players so far, and we need to add a couple more. But he's been critical in that piece, and hoping we can kind of finish up the roster and then start having a really clear picture about what we're going to have this year.
And you guys lost 7 players to 4-year schools, both D1 and D2.
Right.
Obviously, you and Coach Jen Russell played a huge part in those players going on and continuing to be successful. So as you've recruited 7 more, what were some things that went into your thought process when looking at these players and adding them to your team?
For me, obviously taking over as the head coach, that the most important thing to me was having high character guys that come from winning programs. I think it's a mentality to have winners, and some guys have it, some guys need to learn it. We really wanted to have a lot of guys that already have experience winning where they came from. Trajan Bird from Tennessee Prep has won a lot of games. Donovan Freeman from River Rouge High School in Detroit, I believe, lost in the state finals in their state tournament. So that was really important to me, to find guys like that understand what it takes to win, and then being able to grow with us and our program and how we want to do it.
And, obviously you learned a lot from Coach Russell as assistant coach last season. Now being head coach and not having him here, is there anything that you plan to change up from his coaching mentality? Obviously you'll probably keep a lot of the same things that have worked, but what are some things that you want to implement that are new?
I will say that we'll probably end up having to change maybe our offense a little bit, and just kind of our defense standpoint, but not much. Honestly, you learn from the coaching staffs you've been on before. I've been extremely lucky to work for a lot of really high-quality coaches over the last 5 years, and I think really for me it's just about implementing 1 or 2 things from each of them to kind of make it my own. Coach Russell obviously had his way of doing things, and it worked out tremendously, so I don't know why I would change what's working. If it isn't broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
But that being said, obviously it's going to be a different person running the show. So I can't do everything that he did, and we're not the same guy. So there'll be a little bit of small differences here and there. But, those are things I honestly probably won't figure out until we start get rolling. That's just kind of how it works. You won't figure it out until you start having the experience.
A lot of the times you do figure it out as you go. But I know you were so close with Dan, and you learned a lot from him. Do you guys still keep in touch, and have you looked to him for any advice in this last month?
Constantly. I text him all the time, call him all the time, and there was actually a time there for about 3 or 4 days where I didn't hit him up because I was telling him, I wanted to give him a break, and he actually called me out of the blue saying, "What's wrong? Why haven't you called me?" And I was like, I've told him, man, I'm trying to give him a break from having to help me out a lot. But he's been extremely helpful. My past bosses, James Miller, who's at New Mexico State, has been incredibly helpful, giving me advice and really just kind of helping, with all the day in, day out stuff. And Coach Russell's been nothing short of spectacular with that.
And shortly after you moved into that head coach position, assistant coach Lester Stewart came in. So, what was something that you saw in him that made him so qualified for that position to be your assistant?
To be honest, I think what really drew to him was that I've heard nothing but great things about his loyalty to his staff, and from a standpoint that, he's really worked at it to get to where he is. He's been a volunteer assistant before. He's been a high school coach before. He's not somebody that's just been handed these positions. He's had to earn it and prove himself. So for me, it seemed like another opportunity to let a guy earn and prove himself again at a great program like Casper College. And I will say that I'm very pleased with that decision I made, because he's been nothing but excited to be here. I really wanted somebody that understands the tradition and how important this place is. And he's definitely attacked it with that mentality.
And the T-Birds went 32-3 last season, winning that Section 9 title, or the Region 9 title, I'm sorry. How do you two plan to continue that winning tradition for the T-Birds?
I think it's just really about our day in and day out approach. I think our players need to understand that, that this is somewhat of a job for them. It's no longer high school basketball, it's college basketball. Your schedule is driven around basketball and school. And I think that will be a key thing for us to keep going as a winning program from day one, the moment they show up on campus. What are we going to do? What are we about? What are the things that we really care about here? And, it's on me and Coach Stewart to make sure that's clear cut to them, that there's no mysteries, there's no lack of communication, and that they know, hey, this is what we're here to do. And, this is a place where you can win region titles, and, frankly, we should be on that boat consistently, moving forward. So I just hope we can keep that tradition alive, and going to do the best that we can to make sure it happens.
Definitely. And I know the Casper community is super excited about you two stepping into these positions.
I sure hope so.
They'll be seeing a lot more of the T-Birds this offseason and this upcoming season. Thank you so much for your time today and sitting down to talk with me.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back after the break.